They didn't buy me a cake. They handed me a suitcase. That was my 18th birthday gift. No hugs, no words of love, just a cold decree. You're on your own. I left with nothing except a single signature on a paper they didn't bother to read. That was their first mistake. When I was younger, I thought love was automatic. Parents loved because they had to. My parents proved me wrong. They raised me like an investment they'd cash out later. Grades, obedience, performance, everything was measured. If I slipped, I wasn't corrected. I was punished. My father's silence cut deeper than any slap. My mother's approval was a currency I could never quite afford. I mistook their control for care. I mistook their conditions for love. But that birthday, when they shoved the suitcase in my hand and told me the house wasn't mine anymore, I stopped mistaking. I understood. I was disposable. Survival changes people. Out there, with no roof, no safety net. I learned the value of silence, of watching, of planning. I worked. I slept on couches, sometimes in the back seat of my car. I learned to sign documents, read fine print, understand contracts. Paper became my weapon. Then one night, while scrolling through my phone at a dead-end job, I saw it. Their smiling faces on social media. A caption under a picture of the house, family dinner. Nothing better than being together. But something in the background caught my eye. An open briefcase on the table. I zoomed in. A contract. My father's signature. The house was up for refinancing. The very house they'd thrown me out of was now crumbling under debt. They needed leverage. They needed me, and they didn't even know it yet. See, before they kicked me out, they made me sign one last document. They told me it was a release, some petty formality to cut me clean. They didn't read it. I did. It gave me minority ownership of the house, a legal shield. Worthless at the time, worth gold now. That signature they ignored became my anchor. I didn't rage. I didn't confront. I just waited. I built credit. I studied the system. They worried about loans, property, equity. Their world became my new language. So when the bank called me months later, desperate to get my approval for their refinancing, I didn't say no. I said, not yet. Every call, every meeting, I dragged it out. Delays, questions, paperwork lost. I became the slow poison in their veins. They needed me to sign. They begged, at first politely, then with anger. My mother left me voicemails that swung between fake sweetness and venom. My father's silence returned, heavier this time. But I held my ground. Meanwhile, I made moves of my own. I bought shares in a small business. I opened accounts. I stacked my credit. Piece by piece, I built the life they swore I'd never manage. And while they sank, I rose. The day finally came. I sat across from them in the lawyer's office. The contract lay on the polished wood table. All I had to do was sign. My father's jaw was clenched. My mother's hands trembled as she tried to mask her desperation with a smile. Just sign it, honey, she whispered. We're family. Family. The word tasted like ash. I picked up the pen, paused, and looked at them. These two people who had measured my worth in obedience and discarded me like trash. I will sign, I said slowly, but not for you. Their eyes widened. I'm buying you out. Both of you. Effective immediately. The lawyer slid forward the alternate paperwork I had prepared weeks ago. Their signatures were already there, buried in clauses they hadn't read, desperate to shove the process through. They didn't even realize they'd signed away the house. Their house. My house, my mother gasped. My father finally spoke. One word, you. Yes, I said, me. That night, I stood in the empty living room. The walls were the same. The air still carried echoes of their voices, but the weight was gone. The house was mine, not because they gave it, but because I took it. They wanted back in my life, back in my space, but there was no room left for them. They had celebrated throwing me out. They'd made me believe I was nothing. But nothing turned into everything, and as I locked the door behind me, I finally understood. Revenge isn't loud. It isn't messy. It's silent, legal, permanent. It's signing your name where theirs used to matter, and walking away knowing they'll never find a place in your story again.